You have experienced tons of completely different shots, but this specific one gives everyone huge problems over and over again. But what are we actually talking about? Do you know how to apply side spin to the cue ball? Many pool players do this automatically based on their experience. But there are two systems where you can apply side spin using completely different movements of our body and bridge. So in this case, I am going to explain all important things about backhand and fronthand English systems. And this is extremely important to acquire knowledge that will help you understand how simplified these two systems work and when you can use them. Okay, but to understand all important informations, we first need to talk about the basics. When we execute a shot using side spin, then we need to slightly change our aiming point, and this is caused by the fact that cue ball deviates from its natural line due to deflection factor. We need to remember that deflection always pushes the cue ball to the opposite side of given spin. So if we apply right-hand English, then cue ball deflects to the left, and if we apply left-hand English, then it deflects to the right. The biggest factors that influence the level of deflection are tip offset from cue ball center, speed of the shot, and the quality of equipment. If we consider this situation when we are hitting the cue ball along the head string, then we can clearly see that if I hit the cue ball at its center, then it going perfectly straight along the head string, and after contact with rail touches our Q-tip again. But situation is different when we hit the cue ball using side spin. If I use low speed, then we experience swerve factor, so cue ball slightly deflects from its natural line and then curves and comes back to this line. But if we start increasing speed, then cue ball deflects more and we can see differences between contact points on the rail. So in this case, if we try to play this straight-in and low-distance shot using right-hand English and low speed, then we can see that cue ball curves and strike object ball practically at its goal point. But situation is different if we use medium speed, because then we can see how cue ball deflects more and strike the object ball on its left side, which causes it to go towards the right side of the pocket. And similarly, if we use high speed, then we experience highest impact of deflection, and cue ball strike the object ball enough thin to miss it. So in this case, if we want to strike the object ball at its goal ball, then we need to adjust our aiming point in different ways depending on speed of the shot. But as I said at the beginning, we can apply spin using two methods, and we can call them backhand and fronthand English systems. If we talk about backhand English system, then if we aim same shot like before using center ball, then you should apply side spin by moving only your backhand, so I move my grip without moving my bridge. But situation is different if we talk about fronthand English system. This time we need to apply spin by moving only our front hand, so I move my bridge without moving my grip. And at the first look, difference is not very visible, but let's check how it worked during the shot. As you can see, if I apply right-hand English using backhand English system and hit the cue ball with low speed, then I miss this ball completely. And this is caused by the fact that using BHE system, my aiming point is located more to the right, if we compare this attempt with one where I applied spin parallel to initial line. Cue ball curves in same way in both scenarios, but contacts with object ball are in completely different points. But if I use medium speed, then we can see that the cue ball struck the object ball much closer to its goal ball, causing it to go towards left side of the pocket. And once again, if we compare two medium speed shots, then we can see very interesting difference, because in first scenario, cue will strike the object ball on its left side, causing it to go towards right side of the pocket, but in second scenario, cue will strike the object ball on its right side, causing it to go towards left side of the pocket. But if I use high speed, then cue ball deflects the most and strike the object ball almost at its ghost ball, and comparing it to the first high speed shot, then we can see that I was able to pot this ball. But situation will be completely different if we apply same spin but using front-hand English system. During low speed shot, we can see that cue ball curves and strike object ball at its ghost ball, and this attempt looks almost the same like in the first scenario. But there is big difference if we compare two low speed shots with BHE and FHE systems. If we use medium speed, then cue ball deflects to the left and strike the object ball thinner, causing it to go towards right side of the pocket, and once again, it looks similarly to the first scenario and completely different comparing to BHE system. So in this case, if we increase speed again, then we experience highest impact of deflection, so cue will strike the object ball enough thin to miss it, which is the opposite of what we saw when I used BHE system. But extremely important is length of our bridge, and plays huge role especially during BHE system. If I shorten my bridge and try to apply spin using BHE system, then we can see that my aiming point is much more away from the initial line comparing to the classic bridge length. So in this case, deflection pushes the cue ball not enough to strike the object ball correctly using all three amounts of speed. But if I lengthen my bridge more, then my aiming point is much closer to the initial line, and if I hit with low speed, then cue ball strike the object ball almost at its ghost ball. But if we start increasing speed, then this contact point moves to the left. But as I said before, very important is quality of our equipment, so if I use low quality wooden cue, then we experience much higher deflection, and if we compare two scenarios with BHE system and high-speed shot, but using different shafts, then we can clearly see that this time cue will strike the object ball at its ghost ball. Okay, but extremely important is elevation of our cue, especially during low-speed shots. This time, due to high elevated cue stick, cue ball initially rotates in a bit different surface, which causes it to grab the glove more, and curved path is much more visible than before. But the big question is, what will happen if we increase distance between balls much more? Situation is practically the same if we use classic bridge length, because cue ball deflects in same way, but due to increased distance, we are able to pot object ball only in scenario when I use front-hand English system and low speed. So at this point we can spot very important conclusion that if we face short distance shot and hitting the cue ball with high speed, then we should use backhand English system. But if we face long distance shot and hitting the cue ball with low speed, then we should use front-hand English system. Okay, but if we want to use more speed and strike the object ball at its ghost ball, then we need to experiment and combine these two systems in one shot. So in this case, I know that I want to use high speed, so I apply spin using 70% of BHE and 30% of FHE. But this is an estimate based on the quality of my equipment, and it will vary depending on what quality equipment you are using. I hope that after watching this video, you know all important things about BHE and FHE systems, and if you appreciate my work to make this video, then please consider leaving a thumbs up for me and hit the subscribe button to never miss videos like this. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in the next lesson. Take care.